in the upper right in the blue here in this matchup of the Kung Fu Cup semifinals. He's from Storm. It's MaxPax. And on the bottom left in this duel of Titans from Team Liquid, he's a little corporal. It's Clem. And I know the channel has had a bunch of Clem and MaxPax matchups recently, but that's because this is a good matchup. These two players play each other quite a bit, right? What is that? 98 times in Legacy of the Void. They play each other a lot, and most importantly, they match up stylistically very well. And I know I talk about style a lot, like, wow, Maru is going to go late, and against Raynor, that's maybe not the best matchup because, well, Raynor historically has failed to break Maru. And when that happens, when Raynor goes and he stays in the mid game and tries to break Maru, and then he doesn't, the game ends up not being all that great because, well, Raynor's in the mid game, Maru's made his way to the late game, and, well, Raynor, what you gonna do? It's not great. But when you have players that match up stylistically well, that want to play kind of the same era of the game, the same timing of the game, you get something really special. It's like, why, in my mind, Raynor versus Clem is better than Raynor than Serral versus Clem. Yeah, they're both great series, but because Clem lives in the mid game, because he lives on this 2-3 base aggression, well, it leads to some fun games. By the same margin, Serral and Maru are a great matchup because Serral has no qualms with going into the late game as quick as possible, and has been Maru's MO for the last year or two as well. So you put those two together, and it's great. Because they're both trying to play the same type of game, and then it's a game of execution. Who can do it better? And, well, that's just a lot of fun. So moving on to this series, MaxPax, very much, he's not hero levels of aggression, but he is still a very aggressive Protoss. I can guarantee you that if this series goes to 3 games, we are, okay, maybe that's not guaranteed, 95% chance we see at least one 4-gate blink. Clem, you know he's going to go for an early stim timing, maybe go for a 6-minute stim, go for that 3-1-1. And between the two of them, that means they match up just really nicely. Lots of chaos early on throughout the entirety of the map. But for now, the Reaper's going to show up into the main base. Unfortunately for this Reaper, it's not going to be able to kill anything. There's an Adept there, and it's only a single Reaper. So no damage coming off the Reaper. And behind this, we talked about what MaxPax is certain to do at one point. It will be that 4-gate blink idea. Well, for now, MaxPax has that Twilight just about done. Second gateway getting added in. We don't know what's going to be 4-gate just yet. We're not quite far developed into the game enough to pay attention to that. We're not at the point where MaxPax, for example, would look to take the 3rd and 4th gas on his natural and tell us that he's either going to a 3rd base or getting a robo very quickly after this and going for, well, getting a robo bay very quickly after the robo and going for a 2-gate blink Colossus opener or something like that. So for now, well, we're just keeping our eye on the production tab. We're keeping an eye on the base of MaxPax here to figure out just exactly what he's going for. And now we know additional gateways going down. Question though is whether Clem, as he gets a probe, very nice, he's gonna see that yes, there's an extra gateway. This is almost certainly going to be that 4-gate. At the very least, it's going to be a 3-gate. He doesn't see the 4th. Actually, no, he does. He's got a Hellion in, and another probe goes down. Very nice here for the young Frenchman. He scouts everything. He sees everything he could possibly want. The extra gateways, the blink getting chroned out, the robo. He knows what's happening here. And on top of that, he gets 2 probes. He finds a little bit more value than you would expect a Terran player at this stage of the game to find. And the Hellion's still alive, by the way. It dove in and it gets out, which is just not supposed to happen. But on the flip side, MaxPax will see this drop on the map here. Now, we have to point out, of course, this is a single Widow Mine. This is not 2. This is not 3. This is not 4. This is Clem trying to get some damage done, but not committing to it incredibly hard. As these Adepts stay shaded on the other side, and they will just go down. But he's not committing to this Widow Mine drop incredibly hard. It's just a little bit of value, a little bit of damage, a little bit of chaos maybe. If it hits well, it's great. But otherwise, it's not going to be that big of a deal. As more probes go down here, the Hellion gets 3 probes. That is very nice. And because Clem knows where this pylon is, he's not going to get scouted by that thing either. So Now the medevac into the natural here. MaxPax not on the map though. Blink is done. Blink's on top of the medevac. Shoots it down. No widow mines. No damage there coming out of that pressure from Clem. But it did keep MaxPax home. It did force MaxPax to not be on the map as well as he would like. That's a lot of stalkers. Half the stalker count of MaxPax as he's sitting here on 9. 5 of them are at home defensively there. And with the 2 tanks in the high ground here, this 4-gate blink idea from MaxPax is not going to start well. It's not going to say it's not going to finish well, but for now, we're not going to see that big burst of damage that you might otherwise like to see. Gets a supply depot, denies vision. And now here comes MaxPax onto the other side of the map with the rest of that army. With the 4 stalkers that he has in the warp prism are nice, but he's going to warp in 4. He's going to warp in 4 more. He's got the 5 stalkers from the other side, and this is a scary army, but we're at 3 tanks. We're at 2 bunkers here. MaxPax blinks on top of the tank, gets 1 micros away from the bunkers as well as he can. So it's really only 1 bunker firing at a time. Second bunker goes down, and with the vision that MaxPax has here, he knows where the tanks are. He knows when they find their way onto the low ground. Blinks on top, and there's so many Marines. Even still, the tank will fall here. The bunker's still alive. And it's only 4 workers going down. And of course, on the other side, this Raven tries to get some damage. It looks like it's at most gets 1 probe, but well, it's gonna get a couple more here. 2 probes go down. So MaxPax has killed tech, but he hasn't really gotten economy. And Clem on the other side absolutely has. So stalkers, they blink onto the left side here. 4 stalkers, 1-shot SCVs, out of range bunkers, out of range of tanks, a little bit more damage. That's Raven thinking about it, but doesn't have the energy, not just yet, to kill a couple more probes. So gonna have to content itself with 3 at the moment as stalkers get their damage as well. What I think is really interesting about how MaxPax has opted to play this game is that he is not going into RoboBay very quickly out of this. He doesn't think he's gotten enough damage. Instead, yeah, there's a forge on the way, fine. He went for a very quick charge. He's getting immortals out, but he's adding 4 more gateways. It's gonna be 8-gate charge on the way from MaxPax here because he knows that Clem understands that MaxPax has not gotten enough damage yet. That's a nice snipe there on the observer. Clem understands that MaxPax has not gotten enough damage. And what that means now is that Clem's going to try to run across the map and punish this hard, which means you need additional production. You need more gateways. You need charge. You need these early game tech that MaxPax is building himself into. But for now, doing a pretty good job there of killing off Marines. Has to blink backwards. Will do so. And of course, Warp Prism in the main base here. 4 Zealots primed to warp in a couple more if that's what he wants to go for. But he's focused right now on the other side about not losing too many stalkers. And there's the warp in back at home here. He has to be safe, has to be careful. But Clem's just pulled the SCVs out of the natural right there. Clem very all in this game. The Zealots on the other side, they get 9 SCVs, but it doesn't matter. And the force fields are not good enough yet either. Shield battery overcharge is going to get popped. And that will buy time. That's a much better force field. But even still, you got to target the widow mines down there. 1 will fall, second one goes down. Zealots getting on top of the SCVs, and the drags are nice. But they're not enough, not just yet, except they are, because the damage on the other side is good enough on top of that. It buys enough time. And MaxPax, he's going to hold on. He takes game 1. Really nice hold out of MaxPax. And now at the bottom right in the blue, he's up a game. Just lots of damage and an impeccable hold. For Psystorm, it's MaxPax. His opponent in the upper left in the red, back against the wall, trying to make the finals of this Kung Fu Cup, the 2nd season #1. It's Clem. And as we find our way into the 2nd game of our semifinals here, I would like to remind you all that if you want awesome games of StarCraft with Clem and MaxPax and Raynor and Cyril and Maru and really all of these awesome players, you should go and hit the subscribe button on this channel, because pretty much every day there's going to be a best of 3, a best of 5, a best of 7. And I can guarantee you that there will be at least one good game in every single one of those series. It's curated for your own personal enjoyment. So hit that sub button, like this video, and let me know. What did Clem need to do differently to make that all in happen? Or had he just taken too much damage losing all those tanks like that? Was that just a little bit too much? I don't know. But I do know that we're into game number 2 now. MaxPax is up 1, and when we talk about a semifinal, or when we talk about a best of 3, more precisely, when you're up a game, it gives you some nice opportunities. You have this really nice opportunity, because you have a game to give, to maybe do something a little bit more interesting, a little bit wilder, a little bit zanier. And for now, MaxPax just delays the natural a little bit, which may open room for him to send an adept across the map, for him to go and try to delay that command center. And then if the command center gets delayed, the bunker gets delayed, and it gets all sorts of annoying. Now notice he wants to put at least one tick of damage on each SCV that's here. Now the probe will fall, but that's fine. By putting a single tick, by doing 5 damage to both SCVs, what it means as the adept runs across, if there is room, right? It depends. I'm not sure whether the adept is going to get across in time to deal before the command center is done, or even if MaxPax decides to. But if he does, adepts do 25 damage, which means that the pro, or what is it, 20 and it's 40. Anyway, they do an adept 3 shots in SCV. They 2-shot the other 2 workers. If you do 5 damage though, which is what a worker does, suddenly the adepts are 2-shotting workers instead, or 2-shotting SCVs instead of 3-shotting. So beelining that adept across as quick as possible means that you 2-shot. Well, you 2-shot to delay the command center. You 2-shot to delay the bunker instead of 3. So MaxPax thinks about committing onto this. He's gonna find an SCV maybe, but he's not gonna get on top of the command center. So not that maximum damage that he would have otherwise liked to find. At the end of the day, not the biggest thing. He can snowball, certainly, but this is the biggest thing. On the other side, that's a great trap there from MaxPax, but by sending the adept on the other side, he's lost himself 3 probes. And yeah, he's denying mining at the natural. He's gotten an SCV. I think that is something. But it's not worth losing 3 probes this early on, I don't think. I really don't think that's the value that the MaxPax was looking for, especially now as these adepts are likely to go down. They're going to try to shade out right now. And ooh, if they get the Hellion, that's going to be really nice. But one will fall. Second one gets out. The MaxPax, again, the value doesn't quite match. And now with the repair on this Hellion, with the bunker full, this continued pressure, I don't really think it's going to accomplish what MaxPax wants. And behind this, we have a Widowmine drop on the way. This time, though, far more committed. It's not one Widowmine in a drop, hoping that maybe something happens. This is going to hit earlier. It's going to hit before Blink is done. It's going to hit harder. There are going to be more Widowmines in this drop, and maybe Clem might decide to add a little bit more to it. Now, that's something that we see Terrans do every couple games, not every game. But if you're ByuN, for example, you're going to love to go and say, yeah, I have 2 Widowmines in a medevac. That's half the setup. Let me put 4 Marines in that medevac as well. Let me just add to the damage potential a little bit. Make it so that you can't just defend this by pulling probes. You have to go more. You have to have army units to defend that. So Clem's not doing that. He's keeping his units at home. Hellion is going to try to find its way in, but this double medevac drop, thinking about it, moving on through the middle of the map here on the bottom side. Now Blink is done. MaxPax did a good job of chronoing that out. He's got his Warp Prism on the way, and this is, again, 4-gate Blink. But it's not quite as nice for MaxPax as it was in that previous game. He lost a couple probes. He's lost a couple units here. It's not as incredible. And Clem is being a little bit more patient on the drop. He's waiting for MaxPax to move out with his Stalkers before he truly decides to make this happen. And he's got an armory. There's an observer on the way, but I can guarantee you that MaxPax is going to beeline that onto the other side of the map here. Clem is waiting, and he's being so patient to make sure that really MaxPax has to respond to this in a more committed way than he did previously. So one Widowmine into the main base here, and MaxPax isn't pulling. Somehow, through the grace of God, it's only 3 probes going down. But even still, the second one, MaxPax, he's going to be a little bit better this time, and it's only 4 probes. Considering the lack of a pull here from MaxPax, that's a miracle. And now one bunker's going to go down. The Stalkers have to run away. And MaxPax has to get that detection back home. Where's our observer? That's the question right now. And it's slowly finding its way back home. MaxPax, though, he wants to do more. Probes are pre-split to deal with this, but now 3 more probes go down. So that's a grand total of 7. And this Widowmine should die. 7 probes, though. They've hit the deck here. MaxPax not getting a lot of damage on the other side, not yet, but we saw this happen in the previous game. He didn't get enough damage done. He struggled, and then he found the value anyways. Then he got the tanks. He outpositioned Clem. He got him out of position. He killed the tanks. He got enough SCVs that when Clem all-ined him on the other side, it did not happen. This time, though, resources lost. It's 6 SCVs to 11 probes. Worker count is actually in Clem's favor, which is not. That really isn't where you want to be. So MaxPax doesn't have as many stalkers. He has not gotten as much damage. He does not feel as comfortable committing. And Stim is done in about 20 seconds. So he's maybe going to try to get another bunker here with the tank on the low ground, 2 on the high ground. It just doesn't really feel easy for MaxPax to be able to break this as really as nicely as he would otherwise have liked. The stalkers in the main base looking for a little bit more value, but again, they're just not finding much. And of course, MaxPax adding in those additional gateways, going up to 8 gateways now that he's on 3 bases. But the key difference compared to last game is that he understands that maybe he needs a little bit more tech. He doesn't have quite the economy to actively go and run across the map or to just have a bunch of zealots. That's not really going to work out incredibly well for him. So it will be Colossus on the way. It will be extended thermal lance, +1 charge, all of these things. But it's Colossus play. And now here comes Clem through the middle of the map here. MaxPax would love to get the Raven, but he's not going to be able to. And Clem's getting the multi-prong set up here. He's got 8 Marines in a medevac running through to the main base as combat shields are done, as Stim is done here. And this Sim City is very much working against MaxPax here. These 2 stalkers are not going to cut it. They're not good enough. And every stalker that MaxPax warps into the main, and even still, these 2 stalkers are also not good enough. You have to have enough to be able to burst this army down. And again, this setup that MaxPax has, this Sim City, is making it very hard. Meanwhile, at the front here, Clem Stims right on top. It's a dead Colossus off the Raven there. The Raven, I think it might have even gone down, but there are 3 tanks here. There is so much Stim bio. The Widowmine gets an incredible shot. And yeah, Zealots are going to warp in, and that's nice. MaxPax cannot hold on. He does not find the value, and Clem does. MaxPax falls, and we go game 3 here for a date with ByuN in that finals of Kung Fu Cup number 1 of our 2nd season. Now it's the rubber match, and in the bottom left, in the blue, he's for Storm. It's MaxPax. And in the upper right, in the red, looking to do it to him again for Team Liquid, Clem. Now, unfortunately, because this is being recorded on an old patch, 5.0.12 with all of the controversial changes dropped a couple hours ago as I'm recording this. So, and apparently there's a bug where clan spinny images don't show up. So we don't get the nice fancy polar bear from Clem, which makes me very sad. Like, the polar bear just sparked so much joy. Regardless though, or that just he actually, well, no, yeah, he does have the Lem tag, so it's just not working. Whatever. The polar bear is in our hearts. It's in our minds. It's in our very souls. We will be able to appreciate it even if it's not showing in client. 2 games now. We've seen MaxPax go for pressure. We've seen him go for that 4-gate blink. One time it worked and one time it didn't. And realistically, the time it worked was not because of the 4-gate blink. Now, implicitly, maybe it was because we did see MaxPax go, okay, MaxPax is going to try to get that shot on that second SCV, but he needs his probe to find a little bit of shield regen to make sure he gets the hit, and he won't. Just probe walks out, wants to make sure that maybe he gets the probe out, get it, finds it back home, maybe drops a proxy later on, something like that. But anyways, game 1, we saw MaxPax go for 4-gate blink. He found some value, but it felt that more than anything, he won that game because he was able to defend the pressure. And one can argue maybe that the reason that Clem put the pressure on in the first place was because this probe will now fall. Was because Clem took a little too much damage from the 4-gate, and therefore he decided to pull the boys and all in. I would argue that it was more that, okay, this understanding that Clem wouldn't have splash, so pulling the boys is actually a pretty good idea. And MaxPax just held on to it really nicely. I think actually if Clem had done that build against a 4-gate blink into Colossus type timing, I think Clem might have won. But anyway, the Zealot onto the other side is Buying time being annoying and will die. Marines are faster than Zealots. Reapers are faster than Zealots. Technically, perfectly microed bio army should never really even take damage to the Zealot, but certainly should never die. As now a Marine will fall, but this Adept gets low as well. So this is not a great start for MaxPax. He's not able to delay the command center as much as he would like. But actually, as we talk about that, there's a second Adept on the way. But even this isn't all that great. Last game, MaxPax delayed mining a little bit, right, with his additional, with his second Adept, but he didn't take heavy damage on the first one when that happened. He could afford to dive in, and he had 2 healthy Adepts, and he's thinking about doing it again here. But this almost guarantees that both Adepts will go down unless MaxPax is very safe, and like this is the time he shades out. Because otherwise, he doesn't have as much staying power. So yeah, he just shades out. Cannot deny mining as long as he did in that previous game. We have to talk about what's different in this game. I know we've been talking about early games maybe not quite as nice for MaxPax as the last. Well, in fairness, he also didn't lose 3 probes to a Reaper. But the point is, MaxPax has gone Stargate in this game number 3. Oracle into Phoenix play, which I really like, actually. Clem has gone for a Widowmine drop in every single game in this series. The probe will go down, and more 4 primes have to get pulled off the line, but they will trap it at the end of the day, so that's something. But Clem has gone for a Widowmine drop every single game in this series. In fact, it's something he does quite often in general. So going Oracle, right? A little bit of harass, but more importantly, vision, detection, scouting. All those useful things. But going Phoenix behind that. Oh, I love this bait from Clem, but MaxPax seems wise to it. He's not going to dive on top of that Marine. In fact, he saw the Widowmine, I guess, so he dives on top of the mineral line, gets 3 SCVs, and finds his way out. Gets a full scout on the medevac. That was really well done for MaxPax right there. Excellent vision. Excellent just situational awareness coming out of MaxPax. And now there's a Twilight on the way. Oh, this is cool. So I was going to talk about how this is going to be Phoenix Colossus play out of MaxPax, because generally that's what we see. But instead, as this Hellion will fall, this is going to be Phoenix Charge. This is going to be a very committed build out of MaxPax against pressure from Clem, because again, Clem has been going delayed third base, heavy pressure out of the Widowmine drop every single game in this series. Oh, that's a missed timing right there. Widowmine trying to bait, but burrows up, unburrows pretty much right as the Oracle and the Phoenix that dive in. So bit of a missed opportunity there, but MaxPax didn't really dive in too deep anyway, so that's going to be fine. But now we get to really see what the timing is coming on out of MaxPax. So Widowmine will go off. Doesn't kill anything, but it does do heavy damage to that Phoenix, and that is absolutely something we have to track, right? When we talk about the value of Phoenix play, they do a couple things. Not only do they go and provide you some harassment potential, the ability to kill off SCVs or kill Marauders or something that's rallying across the map, they make your fights much easier. You can lift the tech units, the Widowmines, the tanks, whatever it is. But when they take damage, their longevity. When they take damage, their longevity in the game severely diminishes, and the amount of fights they can fight through is a little bit lower, as MaxPax trying to bait into the stasis trap here, and that's a beautiful one. My goodness, that stasis trap is going to do so much for Clem right now, or for MaxPax right now, because Clem wanted to move out at this time, and combat shield's done in 10 seconds. He salvaged the bunker. That's the go time for the Terran. And now MaxPax charge is going to be done in about 15-20 seconds. He has Zealots already prepped on the right side. He has Zealots on the, well, he has the Phoenix in the middle. He's got full vision of this army. By the time this army moves out, Archons will be ready. No Storm, but Archons will be ready. He's going to have enough Phoenix to be able to do whatever he wants to do. Zealot charge is going to be done. +1 is going to be done. MaxPax is in hog heaven right now, even as these Zealots on the other side. They're going to get like 1 or 2 SCVs. And look at the unburrow there from Clem. Make sure friendly fire doesn't kill more SCVs. So that's really nice. That's fantastic coming out of Clem. But it remains to be seen just how powerful this pressure from Clem actually is. MaxPax on a solid 3 bases. Clem, his third base is on the way now. And because this was a 6-minute stim, the third base is going to be done around 7:30, 7:40 as a Widowmine goes off there. Doesn't kill. Oh, man, even with the Oracle and the fact that there was a couple low Phoenixes, it doesn't kill anything. Unfortunate there for Clem, but also means MaxPax, he's got a lot of units that really will struggle to fight. Even still, more Zealots now warping in. This is not, yeah, no, this is just the reinforcements from Clem onto the other side of the map here. Clem's aware of where the third base is. He knows what's happening, and he is very defensively set up at his own natural. He built another bunker. He salvaged his bunker for the timing for that extra Marine you get, and then then built another just to make sure that he is okay. And there's a Widowmine as well in a pretty nice Sim City. So everything going pretty nicely for Clem right now, at least making sure he doesn't take damage. But he still wants to find pressure on this fourth base out of MaxPax here. And now there are lifts on the Widowmines. That's going to be fairly nice. MaxPax, though, he wants that +2 timing. He wants to delay as long as possible. And now the Oracle's dead, so no revelations. No vision, no ability to track where this army is nearly as nicely. You have to sacrifice things, whether it's a random Zealot running in or putting an Observer on top of the army that may go down. You have to sacrifice units to make this happen. So Clem, +2, 2/3 of the way done, 3/4 of the way done here. Still posturing on the map. MaxPax, though, getting ready for Clem to run up the high ground. He's got army on the left side, army on the right side here, looking for that sandwich. But let's see what Clem can get done. The Widowmines, they're going to burr up here. Phoenix on top. And, oh my God, the drag. That's 20 supply down in the blink of an eye. And MaxPax, all of a sudden here, he's up 20 army supply. Look at this. I don't even, the graph doesn't even show. MaxPax is just going to win. He might just win the game off this. That was the most insane mind drag I've ever seen. He killed everything. And now into the meat grinder here. Couple of depths on the other side. Zealots killing off whatever they can. Clem desperately kiting away. And honestly, despite the fact that those Widowmines killed everything, MaxPax, he still doesn't have what it takes to close this game out. Not yet. There are ghosts on the field. These Archons are just a little bit of paper, but it's all about the reinforcements now finding their way. And those Widowmines, they're really nice for Clem. Just about, not quite as good as they were bad for Clem earlier, but still very nice. Widowmines, Zealots in the main base, they're going to try to do something more. And Clem is weathering this storm. It's not easy. He's down 13 workers, but he's weathering this storm. He is finding a way back into it after losing the biggest Widowmine shot that I've ever seen. It cannot be understated. It cannot be, or I guess cannot be overstated just how massive that was. Just how insane that was. Now Zealots in the main base, they're again gonna get dealt with, and Clem will look to push once again, but this time there's a Colossus on the field. And these Marines with the force fields on top, they will struggle. MaxPax just wins. Clem, he's gonna tap out here. His economy's too shattered. The run by in the main causing problems. And he doesn't have the tech. MaxPax books a ticket with ByuN off of one move. And he's gonna move on to the finals here of the first Kung Fu Cup of our second season.